everybody, welcome back to Heart Fun. So, in this segment of episodes called The Table, I'm going to be sitting at the table and interviewing some candidates from different parties in the election. Just because I'm not old enough to vote doesn't mean I can't get involved, right? In this episode, I'm going to be interviewing Courtney Pyrke. Courtney is running for the NDP in the upcoming election in New Brunswick. Hey Courtney, welcome to The Table. So, could you tell me a little bit about the party you're running for and what it stands for?
Yeah, so my name is Courtney Pyrke. I'm running for the New Democratic Party, or the NDP. And the New Democratic Party cares about social activism, social issues, equity, diversity, fairness for all, such as taxation and a $15 minimum wage. We care about the environment. We care about Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus health, reproductive health rights, education. Just basically, kind of having a more equitable and diverse world.
So, I'm not 18 yet, so I can't vote. What are a few things that you and your party can do to make my generation's future a bit brighter?
I think for me, so I guess just to be candid, about a month ago, I was never planning on running. I don't consider myself a politician. I'm a librarian. I have a master's in library science, and I'm a PhD student at the University of New Brunswick. And when I was approached to run by both the Greens and the NDPs and numerous other people, my answer was, of course I'm not going to run. Why would I, of all people, run in the election? And then as more people kind of asked me about it, and my spouse asked me about it, I kind of thought to myself, why can't someone like me run? Why does it always have to be people like Blaine Higgs or like Ted Fleming or Trevor Holder? Why can't it be just, a normal, whatever normal is, why can't it just be a normal person who wants to run and cares about people and wants to make a difference?
Yeah.
I'm not a politician. I care about policy. I care about politics. I care about how my life and your life is impacted by politics and politicians. So why can't why can't anyone just run?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that moving forward I'd like to kind of highlight is just the process that I had in trying to run or trying to get even on the ballot. So I don't a lot of people don't realize this, but to run you actually have to pay $100.
Really?
You have to pay $100 to run, yeah. And I'm in a very fortunate situation where I can borrow money from my student loan to pay the $100 to run. But there's a lot of people who don't have $100 who can run. And the other thing that I learned about too was you need to get 25 people to sign your nomination paper in order to be put on the ballot. And when I was walking around uptown to get the 25 signatures, a lot of people who I asked to sign my nomination paper actually don't have an address. So they actually experience homelessness. And because they experience homelessness, they're not even allowed to vote because you need an address to vote. So it's things like that where I ask myself, why is it like this? And how can we change this process so that it's more inclusive to everyone?
Yeah.
Not only to run, but also to even vote because it's more than just being 18. You have to have an address. You have to have a piece of ID. And a lot of people who are over the age of 18 don't have that in St. John Harbour, which is something that I experienced working at the public library. I kind of learned that through there because you need those things to get a library card as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people couldn't get a library card because they didn't have a piece of ID or they didn't have a fixed address or an address that they could use. So yeah, it's these types of injustices that for me that's kind of why I'm doing it and why I want to run. I think there should be more just people who care about people who are running as opposed to career politicians who want a job in office.
What's the most important issue for you during this election?
For me personally, the most important issue is access to healthcare and our education system. However, I know through talking to people in the harbor that tax reform is also a very important issue, and it is an important issue to me as well. But for me personally, access to healthcare is really important. As somebody who identifies as non-binary, I don't have the healthcare that I need as an individual living in the St. John Harbor. And in terms of education, that's actually something that I study at school, is education. I'm looking at how people like you and high school students are learning how information literacy skills, which is how to understand information, how to find information, how to then kind of use that information, how to put it together.
Yeah.
I'm studying that, and I know that in New Brunswick we don't have any sort of information literacy like curriculum or policy or anything like that. So that's definitely something that's missing in our community. And for tax reform, I know that's really important for a lot of people as well, because everyone says like the rich keep getting richer and the poor keeps getting poorer, and I think that's something that we really see.
Even though I can't vote, what are some ways for me to get more involved with politics?
I think doing stuff like this, like meeting with politicians and like telling them what your issue. Well, politicians. I don't consider myself a politician, but meeting with politicians, telling us what your issues are, what your concerns are, letting us know that like you care and like you want your voice to be heard too, right? Even if you can't vote. As well as when I was at the Clinic 554 rally yesterday, there was kids there too, so they were there, and there's going to be a time where one day they're going to need Clinic 554 as well. So kind of showing that it's not just an adult issue; it's a kid issue too, and like this is your future, right? So you should, like, you and your friends and other kids should be kind of doing stuff like this, and should be asking these types of questions. When the St. John Human Development Council, which is a nonprofit uptown, when they approached me and asked me about a debate, they're thinking about organizing a debate. Randy Hatfield had asked me, here's a list of the nonprofits around St. John that we've asked to submit a question. Is there anybody missing from this list? And right away I noticed there was no teen representation or no kid representation. So I said, you need to include teenagers. You need to go to the Teen Resource Center and ask the teenagers what they want to hear from politicians too. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming to the table to talk to me today. Good luck, and I hope to talk to you soon. Air high five.
Thanks for having me.
So much for watching. I hope you learned as much as I did at the table. So if you can vote, please do. And if you're not old enough, like I'm not, make sure to still get engaged and ask lots of questions. Have a loving day!